What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my Samsung Galaxy A11 review. So let's get started. So this is my Samsung Galaxy A11 review. Now, this device is the successor to the Galaxy A10, which came out a year ago. And that phone actually turned out to be one of Samsung's most popular devices of 2019. I know you often hear a lot about the S series and Note series, but the reality is that the A10 was the best-selling device from the company, and it does make sense. That was a great phone, and with the A11, Samsung has taken what was great with the A10 and made things even better. Now take a look at the link in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing for the phone, but currently it's being offered at around $170. Now that's the international unlocked variant of the device. I know the phone is also going to be making its way over to a variety of different carriers, at least in the US. And typically, if you buy it through a carrier, they're going to offer the phone at a significant discount, if not for free. So there's definitely a bunch of different ways to obtain the device itself, and of course there's a lot of benefits with buying the device unlocked because you can easily jump from carrier to carrier, so definitely make sure to do a bit of research to see where you can get the best deal on the phone. Now the Galaxy A11 features a 6.4-inch display. The display itself features TFT technology, so certainly a step below AMOLED, which is the display technology that we're getting with the A51 for example. Now the display here is 720p, we're getting a 268 ppi, we're getting a 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio, and an 81.6% screen to body ratio. So I like that the display itself is very large at 6.4 inches. That is very good, but I would say that the main compromises here is that you're getting a lower resolution at 720p, you're getting an inferior display technology with TFT, where you're not going to get nearly as good of viewing angles here, and especially in outdoor conditions, things are not going to be quite as bright as AMOLED would be. Now with all that being said, the good news though is the display here is certainly usable. You can probably see just by watching this video that things still do look nice and colors are actually pretty decent, especially for a phone in this price range. So I do appreciate that. Another thing that I like a lot about the phone too is that we do have a hole punch for the front-facing camera, which Samsung calls the Infinity O. I certainly prefer this compared to a notch, for example, and of course it does take up a little bit of space, but overall I don't have a problem with it. Now the bottom bezel on the device is a little bit thicker, and that certainly is a compromise with going this extremely budget route with the A11, but in general I think it's a good looking phone. It looks modern, it looks like something that would come out in 2020, so I'm pretty happy with it. Now that front-facing camera is 8 megapixels, and stay tuned to later on in the video as I show you photo and video samples from the phone. Now internally with the phone we're getting 32 gigs of storage, and if that's not enough for you, you can also put in a micro SD card. So I feel like for the price of the device, 32 gigs is pretty fair. Certainly in 2020, I would avoid getting a phone with 16 gigs. It's simply not enough, especially with how apps are bigger and bigger nowadays in size. So 32 gigs is certainly the bare minimum, and I'm glad that we are getting it here with the A11. Now there's no wireless charging with the phone, but one cool feature that we do get is a fingerprint sensor on the back. So we'll try that out right now. And that's a very quick fingerprint sensor, so I am very happy with it. In addition to the fingerprint sensor, we're also getting face recognition with the phone, so that's certainly helpful, and you can either use both of those unlocking methods, or you can pick one or the other. Now also on the back of the phone is the camera module, and with the Galaxy A11, we're getting a triple camera setup. So we're getting a 13 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera. Now this is certainly, in my opinion, one of the biggest innovations that we've gotten from the A10 is having an ultra-wide camera. This was a feature that we got with the Galaxy A20 last year, and that was very popular, so I'm glad to see that this device, being technically one step lower than the A20 series, does indeed also have an ultra-wide camera. Another thing I wanted to mention too is this material on the back. Now we'll talk about this more in a second, but isn't this cool? It kind of reminds me of the iPhone 5C from a long time ago. And of course it is plastic, but I feel like it just looks really cool overall. It's a unique material on the back here that you don't see too often with budget devices. But in case you're not familiar with the advantages of having an ultra wide angle camera, here's how things look with the standard camera. Now without a doubt, the 13 megapixel camera will take better photos, but things will not be quite as wide. Now switching over to the ultra wide angle camera, you can see here that we can fit a lot more content into the frame. So really the biggest benefit with the ultra wide camera is that you can of course fit more content in here, but it will be at the expense of the actual photos themselves, not looking as crisp and clear, and low light performance will be greatly mitigated. But we do get portrait mode with both the front and rear cameras with the phone. That's really awesome. I remember it wasn't too long ago that you had to get a flagship to get portrait mode. But now, even one of the lowest end devices from Samsung does have that feature. Now internally, with the Samsung Galaxy A11, we're getting 2 gigabytes of RAM and the Qualcomm Snapdragon 450. So 2 gigs of RAM in 2020 is certainly a bit of a letdown, but putting the Snapdragon 450 in here is actually a really nice surprise. So if you're not aware, the Snapdragon 450 was the same processor that we got with the LG Stylo 5 from last year. That processor was also in the Stylo 4, which was launched in 2018. So if you're curious about how the long-term performance of this device might be, then you should look into how the LG Stylo 4 is working in 2020. Because like I said, the Stylo 4 and this phone have the same amount of RAM and the same processor. So is this device going to be an amazing, speedy phone? Most likely not. But if you're someone that wants a device for more basic tasks, but at the same time you want a phone that still is usable, you don't want something so slow that you literally can't use it, then I think the A11 still will get the job done. Now I did do a benchmark test with the phone, and I'll show you that score right now, but essentially I got a score of 89650, and that is pretty consistent with other devices that I've used with the 450 and this amount of RAM. So this score is certainly nothing special. However, if you can snag this device at a really good price, then I certainly think the performance that you're getting does match the price that you're paying. Now, video recording with the phone maxes out at 1080p at 30 FPS, totally fine. With the device, we're getting a beefy 4,000 milliamp hour internal battery with 15 watt fast charging. So nice to see that we are able to charge the device decently quick. Now the software on here is Android 10 with Samsung's One UI 2.0. Now for the most part, we're getting all the various goodies that you'd expect to get with One UI 2.0, but some features like the App Edge are missing here. So that's a bit unfortunate. There's also no Bixby on the device either, which I totally am fine with. But it is cool that we are getting Android 10 out of the box, and I would certainly expect that in early 2021, the phone will be getting updated to Android 11, because at this point in 2020, the Galaxy A10 is getting updated to Android 10, so if history repeats itself, then Samsung should be sticking to that same schedule. Now I did download some of my favorite applications on the phone to test while I use it, but if you do buy this phone unlocked, then you're mostly just getting Samsung's various first-party apps and you're getting Google's goodies here. But beyond that, there's really no bloatware. Now, if you do buy the phone through a carrier, whether that's Verizon or Metro by T-Mobile or wherever else it might go to, then your experience likely will be different because I know the carriers love to throw on a ton of different random apps, which I'm not a fan of that, but it is the way it is. But taking a closer look at the actual hardware of the device, taking a look at the left side here, we just have the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. Then on the right of the phone, we have the power button and volume button. Then on the top of the device, we have the noise canceling microphone and the 3.5mm headphone jack. I do wish this headphone jack was on the bottom of the phone versus the top, but if you're one of those people that prefers it to be on the top, then this might be a great phone for you. On the bottom of the device, we have the microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and we have the speaker. So far, with all the various A-series phones that have come out in 2020, the Galaxy A01 is the only device left from Samsung that still comes with micro USB. So it's cool to see that with the A11, we are getting USB-C. certainly the way to go. And taking a look at the backside of the device, again, I'm a big fan of this material. It looks really sharp. Now, over time, it might pick up some scratches, but for the most part, I like that it seems to be kind of inspired by the iPhone 5C. Now, the phone is available in some other colors as well. I know it looks really good in blue, for example. And if you want to see those different colors and see what all is available, then take a look at the link in the video description. But also on the back, we have the camera module, flash, and the fingerprint sensor and Samsung logo. So overall, a really nice looking piece of hardware, which is something that I don't really say that often for phones in this price range. Now, if you're curious, here is the box that the device came in, and you can see on the front of the box, it does have a picture of the phone with A11 branding right there. Let's open the box and see what all we get. So we do get a packet here, and in the packet, we just get some literature. So unlike some of the other A-series phones, we're not getting a free case with this one, unfortunately. But we're getting a quick start guide and warranty card, so good stuff to have. Oh, looks like we also have another piece of paper. We're also getting a quick start guide in Spanish as well. We're getting a 10-watt adaptive fast charger in the box. We're getting a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. We're getting a SIM card removal tool. And we're getting a pair of 3.5mm headphones. Now again, if you're buying this phone through a carrier, then your experience might be a bit different, but this is everything that you get with the unlocked variant of the device. Now I've been very happy with the photo and video quality from the phone. As far as the photos go, you're going to be able to take nice looking, usable selfies, and same thing with the photos taken from the rear cameras. I really like that the A11 does feature an ultra wide camera, and unlike other lower end devices that sometimes will throw in features like that, but the actual cameras themselves happen to be low quality, the cameras here certainly exceed my expectations. So, of course, you're going to get better cameras with the A51, for example, or probably even the A21, which is coming out really soon. But I'm totally satisfied with the quality that we're getting from the Samsung Galaxy A11. I also appreciate that we're getting portrait mode with the front and rear cameras. So Samsung really does pack in all the various features that you'd want with the cameras on the device. And I'm just really glad that the quality is good enough where you can share it on social media and nobody's going to be making fun of you. So of course, you're not going to win any photography awards with the cameras on this device, but at the same time, it will get the job done. And of course, when you buy this phone, it's not going to be leaving a big gap in your wallet. But let's now take a look at some video samples. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with a front-facing video from the Samsung Galaxy A11. So let me know what you think of the quality from the device. It seems like it's pretty good from where I can see though, especially for a phone in this price range. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with a 1080p test video from the Samsung Galaxy A11. There is autofocus in video mode. It is a little bit slow though. But not too slow that it's a deal breaker. Here's a close-up of this bark. Let me know what you think of the microphone quality. And here's an ultra wide angle video with the Samsung Galaxy A11. Not too many phones actually let you take video with the ultra wide camera in this price range. So this is a very cool thing to see here. It is pretty sunny out right now. I've been very happy with the performance of the Samsung Galaxy A11 when it comes to going on social media, such as going on Instagram. So on Instagram, for example, my feed runs nice and smoothly, so no problems with that at all. I can swipe over if I want to record some videos for my story, for example. So I'm recording a video right now with the Samsung Galaxy A11. The phone also features a decent microphone as well, which is another nice thing to see here. You can easily go through your stories as well. That content is nice and smooth and consistent, so really no major like hiccups or anything when using the device. So that's a great thing. Of course, I'm going to be keeping the phone for a while and doing follow-up coverage because I'm sure you know that things could change as time goes on, but at least for my time of using the phone, performance has not been an issue. Now let me clarify that this phone certainly won't have the level of longevity as a device like the Galaxy S20, for example, but on the other hand, you're buying this phone for a fraction of the price. So you are getting what you're paying for, but this phone also isn't junk. So in conclusion, I'm a big fan of the Samsung Galaxy A11. I feel like this is genuinely a really good successor to the A10 from last year, and I have a feeling that this phone is going to sell really well for Samsung. It has so much going for it and very few downsides, especially compared to its various counterparts in this part of the smartphone market. I like the form factor here. I like that we're getting a hole punch for the front-facing camera. I like that we're getting a nice modern design with the phone. I really like this plastic material on the back that reminds me a lot of the iPhone 5C. I like that we're getting a fingerprint sensor with the phone, face unlock, an ultra-wide-angle camera, a large display at 6.4 inches. Really the only thing that I feel like could be better with the A11 is getting 3 gigs of RAM instead of 2 gigs of RAM. That's really the only thing that I feel like really should be different with this phone. But I don't feel like 2 gigs of RAM is a deal breaker considering that we are getting the Qualcomm Snapdragon 450, which generally isn't a processor that I'm too crazy about, but in this price range, that processor is actually pretty impressive. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Again, check out the link in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing for the phone, as well as the various colors that it does come in. But this is Kevin here. This is the Samsung Galaxy A11, and I will see you in the next video.